Okay, we are now up to one of the most important parts of setting up your business and maintaining this platform for your business, and that is your recipes. Now, this section here is going to take a little bit of time to set up, but once it is set up, it really allows the platform to come into its own. We're going to do a lot of things automatically for you based off the information that you give us through your recipes here. Once you put your recipes in, we'll be able to do things like create food labels automatically for you, including nutritional panels, create shopping and ordering lists for you based off the orders that you get each week, create recipe cards for you, get accurate information from the budgeting tools that are built into the platform, makes putting together your menus easier, and a hell of a lot more. So this is a section that you want to take your time to get right, but once you do, everything else sort of falls in place a hell of a lot easier for you. So let's go ahead and have a look at the recipe section and the kind of information that it's going to ask you to do as you input this in. Really quickly, just before we do, a hot tip on this. It's worth, once you do put your recipes in, spending a little bit of time each week, whether it's you or someone in your team, to make sure that the information remains accurate, including the cost of the food that you're using, the sizing, etc. And if there's any new additional recipes that need to go in, putting them in at the time as well. If you spend a little bit of time on this each week, you'll continually keep it up to date and it will serve you well in the long run. Okay, so here we are on the recipes page, and just before we go ahead and start putting together recipes or having a look inside these recipes here, before this you will have needed to add in the ingredients and potentially the menu sections. So on the left hand side, you can see just under food, and the subsections are menu sections, recipes and ingredients. If we go ahead and add those in first, now we're ready to make our recipes. If we want to add a new recipe, we can click the green button, or we can go ahead and edit any of the other recipes. Remembering that we can duplicate to shortcut the process if we want to. There's a number of other cool little features we can use here. Of course, the drop-down menus to help us search. The filter will also help you search. And if at any point you want to have a look directly at a recipe card, how this recipe might look on your kitchen page, or the label, including the nutritional value for that recipe, you can go ahead and do it right there. Okay. So let's have a look inside one of the recipes to see the information that we will need from you. First up, go ahead and include your recipe name. It's going to ask you for a description that will appear on your kitchen page. On the right hand side, the recipe image that you would like to use. And then of course the menu section. Now, hot tip when it comes to writing the description, you can see here it says provide a short and enticing description. I want to show you something really quickly. When it pops up on your menu, your customers can already see the ingredients down the bottom here. So using the description section to include all of your ingredients, while it's important, it might be a little bit of overkill. They can already see that there. So the way to write a good description would be to think about how would you describe this dish if somebody was asking you about it, ready to order at a restaurant. Think about the adjectives that you want to use, some important information about how it might taste, how it might smell, how it might present. Is it a very popular dish? Is it one of your favorites? Where do the ingredients come from? Think about the kind of information that your guest or your customer might like to know that is not simply the ingredients stated one by one. Okay, let's head back to the top here. Now, once you've written up your name description, you've added in the section, you've got a great looking image there for it, we now move on to your ingredients. Your ingredients, which we've input earlier on in the ingredients section, subsection, you can go ahead and search them individually by name and they will pop up here. And simply add down to the bottom. Or if they are not in the database, you can add an ingredient by clicking that button here and going ahead to put in the information about it. It'll ask you how much of it and what the metric is. Automatically put the allergen in there, and you'll be able to get a price. So down the bottom you can see how much the total cost or food cost of this dish is. based on the prices that you put in for in the ingredients section earlier on, which is really handy to know when you are pricing your dish. Down the bottom here, you've automatically got the allergen information based on the ingredients that you put in. If you want to add in some more, you can by clicking the Add an Allergen button. And underneath that, here is where you get to select the dietary filters that this dish will come up under when people are looking for it on your kitchen page. You can go ahead and click each of those that suit the recipe. Moving further down, we now get to add in our recipe instructions and our method here. This will pop up on your food label once you input it for the recipe. So here you want to input things like how long something might be put in the oven for and at what temperature, maybe if some parts needs to be microwaved, or if there's any other preparation that needs to be done, you can go ahead and put it in the Add a Method section that will appear on your food label. Under that, select the unit type. It serves, pieces, kilos, grams, litres for liquids, and then after that, the number of serves or total yield below. You can go ahead and choose your total weight in here, and then an automated nutritional information panel will appear for you based on all of the information that you have put above this in the recipe. Further on down, to finish off this page, we've got our wages, so adding in who is involved in the preparation, cooking and delivery process and for how long. That will allow us to put in wage costs for the recipe, and the sizes and pricing. You can put in different sizing of the same dishes, small, medium, large. In this case, you might have a single serving, double serving or family serve. And then we've got our weight, ingredient pricing. You can select the packaging that you will use for it and the pricing, which will then tell you exactly how much profit you'll be making in percentage right next to it. Underneath that, we can include if GST is required on this meal, and you can find out more about that in the link just next to it. And lastly, we have a small little marketing feature which could really help you to drive your revenue up, which is a prompt for your customers who are ordering this dish to potentially order something else that goes really well with it. So if you are selling a curry, are we putting the naan bread next to it as well? Could we put a raita next to it? If we're having a lasagna, are we putting in a garlic bread, for example, or maybe a side salad? You can put up to 3 items that your customer will be prompted with that go well with this particular recipe. Strongly suggest that you use this feature. It will really help to drive up your revenue, and it's quite simple to use. Before you hit save, you're allowed to have a look at what it will look like on the menu, and you can click that at any time, of course. See how that's coming up. And you'll also have a recipe card down the bottom here if you want to print these out and have them up in your kitchen for your team, especially in the case where you are serving something, potentially if you have a venue and you're serving something sold through the Kookaburra platform that is different to potentially how you sell it in venue, then these are going to be really important. For example, different sizing or different ingredients, etc. All right, once you've done that, hit save recipe. You are ready to continue adding the next recipe in and the one after that. Once you have all of your recipes in the platform that you're ready to use, you'll be able to start creating your menu and putting together your kitchen page.